Hi, and welcome to Rise and Shine, Creating 2020 Vision. We are back with day 32 and conversation number 2 in our action theme. And I have with me here today, Joel Salomon and Mollie Singh. Welcome, Joel and Mollie.
Thanks for having us, Kim. Appreciate it.
Excited to be here.
I'm excited to have both of you here. This is the first time I've, in a very long time, if ever, had a show with 2 guests at the same time. So I'm looking forward to it. And real quick, I just want to say hello to our live audience as well as any replay viewers. Go ahead and say hello down in the comments. I see we have Helene who's already with us. Hello, Helene. And as always, let us know what you're taking away from today's conversation, what comes up for you as we talk about action. And of course, we're going to be sharing with you more about what Joel and Mollie do and how it all fits together. I love what they're working on. So I'm going to go ahead and get into sharing a little bit more about who both Joel and Mollie are. So let me bring up my notes on that. So just in a little tiny nutshell, Joel Salomon is a chief prosperity officer and an expert in the field of finance. And Mollie Singh is a university professor with an MBA in global business and a Gottman 7 principles leader. And together they are they are both infinite possibilities trainers, and together they are the forthcoming authors of the new book, Infinite Love and Money, which is releasing in early 2021. And so real quick, if you'd like to connect with Joel, you can go to salarmore.com, which is SALAURMOR.com, or you can connect with Mollie over at molliesing.com, and that's MOLLIESINGH.com. Hello, you two.
Hi.
Hi.
So will you both just maybe start with Joel and we'll move on to Mollie. Just tell everyone a little bit more about who you are and what you do.
Sure. Joel, you want to go ahead?
Ladies first.
Okay. I am, as you mentioned, a university professor as well as a 7 leaders coach. And I also am an infinite possibilities leader. And I took the 2 works, Infinite Possibilities and the Gottman 7 Principles, and I combined them to create a new book called Infinitely Loving. And it's a workbook very akin to the Infinite Possibilities book. And it follows with it and matches the Gottman principles of making a marriage work. So
wow.
So I'm very excited about that. And then Joel and I met and we connected on that level. And we decided that since money is one of the biggest conflicts that people have, perhaps it's time that we write a love and money book that combines all these things.
I think that's awesome. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Joel, will you tell everyone a little bit more about who you are and what you do?
Sure. So as you mentioned, I am a prosperity coach. That's what I call myself, a money coach. So I teach people how to change their mindset around money from limiting beliefs to empowering beliefs, scarcity and lack to prosperity and abundance. So it's all about shifting the mindset. But then I also teach how to invest, how to invest in the stock market. In my bestseller last year, The 9 Money Rules Millionaires Use, I gave people the 5 proprietary step stock screen that I created. And I also created a 7-step real estate screen to invest in real estate. So I teach people how to invest, I teach people that they can do it themselves, DIY investing. And then I also teach people how to improve their credit score. A lot of people are struggling these days, how to get out of debt, how to get their credit score up, and also their financial freedom number, which we talk about in Infinite Love and Money as well. So it's really important to know your finances, to know where you are and where you want to get to. And when you calculate your financial freedom number, you can see where you are and how far you are away from being financially free. So those are the kinds of things I teach to my clients. And as Mollie said, we had this idea a couple of years ago that the number one one of the number one reasons why couples relationships end is money. And Mollie being an expert couples coach, I figured partnering with her and helping couples to overcome this big problem, we can help couples stay in relationships longer and have a better relationship with money as well.
Awesome. Well, I would love to get your thoughts on just action in general. Let's just start off with that. So, when you think of the role action plays in moving towards a goal, what comes to mind for you? And Mollie, what are your thoughts?
So I think, Kim, one of the big things that we strive to do, and what I strive to do, is to help couples, teach couples how to have a better relationship with each other through communication. And I do offer some really great techniques in conflict resolution in both the books. And we really want to teach couples how to have a better relationship with each other and with money, because they just don't have that.
So, what would you say is the first step when it comes to taking action and doing that?
I think that we talk a lot about our beliefs and our backgrounds, as you know, when we our beliefs and backgrounds are so important because it shapes us as to who we are today. So if both people in the couple can sit down together and say, hey, this is how I would define life, and this is why I think this, and potentially even how I want this to change. And we have a list of words that we go through and say, how do you define these words? Because that's the root of the communication. Life might mean one word to me, and it might mean something else to you. To me, money might mean something, and it might mean something else to you. For example, money for me is freedom, but to someone else, it could be the root of all evil. So understanding where those thoughts come from is what can actually help you move forward together and change together.
I love that. That is such a good point, Mollie, about really what I'm hearing is taking time to go, okay, we love each other. We're in this, partnership together. Mm-hmm. And if something's not connecting quite right or whatever, what can we do about it? Rather than assuming that things just are the way they are, what maybe can we do differently? And that's such a great thing to look at, is even just the way we think of certain basic words. We may assume everyone has the same definition, mm-hmm. and to be open to taking action on, okay, let me explore that a little further beyond what I thought I was seeing. Let me take that a little further and see what shows up.
That's right.
Yep, absolutely. For me, taking action is starting with a small step. We had this idea. We want to help people. We want to help people in relationships. How can we do this? Let's do a webinar. Let's write a book together and help people. So it's taking tiny little baby steps. Okay, let's write a chapter together. You take this chapter, I'll take this chapter. Just small little baby steps in taking the action. What I tell my clients is, I truly believe in meditation and visualizing, right? I wholeheartedly. In fact, rule number 4 in the 9 money rules millionaires use is visualizing, right? But you can't just sit at home and meditate and visualize all day. You have to get out into the world. I don't know any billionaires, by the way, who just sit at home and meditate and visualize all day. They get out into the world and take some action.
I'm sorry. We also write out some great examples of and steps to make changes. And that's one of the things we start off with, is you start small first. One of the things that I also like to do is to say, okay, you make one small change and hold on to that change for 30 days. And then assess and move forward. Because you'll find across many theories and religions that everyone will say that there's a 30 to 40 day building of a habit. That's what it takes to build your habit. And once you build that habit, it becomes part of you. And then you can create another little change.
What would you say? Well, and before I get into the next question, I want to acknowledge Carol is with us, and she's saying communication is the most important action to create a better relationship. Baby steps are important. Yes, absolutely, Carol. And so I actually wanted to touch on that baby steps part again. Mollie, I love what you were suggesting about just take one step and sit with that for 30 days. Practice that for 30 days. Would you be able to give us an example of what could be one baby step that a couple could do for 30 days?
Sure. So one baby step that a couple could do for 30 days is to actually take note of what they're spending. So one of the things that Joel recommends is to create a ledger of what you spend every day. And before you make the change, that in it of itself, the observance of your habit is a change. So create your ledger, look at that for 30 days, and then assess and say, you know what? Maybe we don't need to go for coffee 3 times a day outside. Maybe. Who knows?
Yes, yes, yes. Oh goodness. I used to go for coffee quite a bit, and I've scaled back. It's nice. I can relate. Okay, awesome. Well, okay, so now you both are already published authors on your own, and then you decided to come together and write a book together. And so let's just talk about the action involved in that. And I know you guys are still in the process of writing and creating the book, but was that I don't know, when you thought of coming together and doing that, did even that, I hope this isn't going too deep for either of you. I'm just coming up with this. Was there some uneasiness or some like, ooh, I don't know, what would that be like? And how do we do that? And was there any of that showed up, and how did you move through that? No,
I can go first on this. Great question, clearly, because to me, in any relationship, right, you have to think about building that relationship over time. We knew each other. We met at Infinite Possibilities. We became trainers together. We actually became we knew of each other, but when we both spoke in New Orleans at the Train the Trainer Infinite Possibilities that Mike and Andy Dooley do, that's when we really got to know each other. So there was some relationship already developed, but obviously it wasn't as close as we are now. So for me, any relationship, you build trust over time, right? We learned about each other, learned about our different points of view. No one's exactly the same. So we're learning each other's points of view and learning how each other thinks and feels. And for me, that it's been great to learn about Mollie and everything she's accomplished. And, to me, I'm just so grateful that she agreed to work with me, because, she's a university professor, and she's all this consulting and this expert couples coach. So, I'm so grateful that we're working together and doing things to help people.
I think it's fantastic because you guys both have, and I just met Mollie. I've known Joel a little longer, but what I can tell is you guys both have a depth of expertise in your arena. And so you're coming together, and we're talking about couples. So I'll just say marrying the two together, right? And that is a lot of baby steps. That is a lot of, we're going to do this and then do this and do this. And eventually what's, I think, going to be fantastic is you're going to literally have a birthing of a book when you're done. And that's all those baby steps combined. So I think it's fantastic. So let's talk just a little bit about now, I guess, the money aspect of it. Joel, what would you say are maybe some of the, I guess two things are coming up. What would you say are some easy steps? And Mollie, actually, I think you already provided one, but I was gonna say, what would you say is an easy step for people to start making changes and grow their money? But also, what would you say is maybe one of the challenging things people have a hard time with putting into action, but makes a big difference once they do?
Well, the latter, I think Mollie already addressed, is the budget. It's like a 4-letter word. You kidding? Like, when I remember one client, when I told them, like, keep track of everything you spend for a day and then continue to do it. Like, everything? What? Are you kidding me? No, I can't keep track of everything. So the budget is very challenging. And I tell people, and the reason why it's rule number 7 of the 9 money rules is more than 80% of millionaires' budget. More than 80% of millionaires' budget. So when you want to be like a millionaire, like, you want to act as if you're a millionaire. So budget, right? So, but it's a big challenge. It's keeping track of numbers, either in a spreadsheet or in QuickBooks. It's not something that people love to do. But like Mollie said, once you develop the habit, it can become second nature. It's easy for you. And if you have a business, start on the business first, because it's easier, because you already have probably some some apps that you use, and it's healthy to know where your business cash flow is. So that, I would say, that's a challenging piece of the pie for, money and relationships.
Are there any common questions that people tend to have once they start budgeting and they start to see, what they're doing and maybe making decisions like, okay, I don't need to spend money on this anymore. But are there any other themes or patterns that people tend to come across and then maybe feel stuck, like they don't know how to change it?
Well, I think the biggest thing is surprise. People are surprised by how much they spend on coffee or chocolate or fantasy teams. It's usually there's a surprise as to, wow, I spend that much money a month, that much money a year. And what we teach is that, if you could just save that, the compounding effect of even just, $5 a day, right? $150 a month, $1,800 a year, that becomes, $50,000 in just 10 years through the power of compounding. And imagine if you had an extra $50,000.
Yeah. Mollie, where would you say the love piece comes into all this, and how do the money and love combine?
So I do have to say that I feel completely indebted to Joel, because it was his epiphany. And when he came to me with this, it was one of those things like, oh my God, of course, what a great idea. And there was no hesitation for me to say, yes, let's do this, because it was such a natural fit. And I'm so grateful to him for thinking it. And I think that the love comes in because when two people are coupled together, they're in love. And we tend to put these rose-colored glasses on. And in Infinitely Loving, I do talk about wearing those rose-colored glasses and continuing to appreciate your partner more than you criticize your partner, because criticism's terrible in a relationship, in anything, but especially in a relationships. So when it comes to the love part of money, is we tend to separate love and money, and we really need to bring it together. We need to say, I love you, and not I love you, but. No, I love you, but you spend too much money. I love you, and I love that you want to buy me flowers every month, but maybe, from the grocery store every once in a while, because, or however that plays out, or maybe pick a flower, or maybe a photo of flowers. I mean, again, it goes back to the budgeting. The love part of it is to appreciate what you have in your partner and what your partner's trying to do. And then to go back to the communication. If you know that your partner is spending, and you have, again, coming back to the budget, it becomes a full circle here. You know that you have a budget. Okay, we have a budget for X amount of dollars for flowers, or X amount of dollars for coffee. This is what you're going to do. And this is where you're going to fit into that budget on a monthly basis, or not. I mean, and if it's not, then that's where the conflict comes in.
So one of the things that we do in the book, Kim, is we have a parable that goes through the entire book. So we talk about a couple that is having some conflict, some issues, and Mollie, you could talk about that. But it's something that I think is fun as you read the book to follow the couple through the book.
Nice.
So it is a couple. They are sitting in their divorce proceedings in arbitration. They didn't go to court, and you basically have it. It's all about the financial aspects of where did this money go, and wait, why? Is there an understanding of interest rates? Is there an understanding of bills and debt, and which leads into these great chapters that Joel has written. But yes, there is a couple that is in deep conflict, and it stems from not communicating.
The phrase "what you appreciate appreciates" is coming to mind.
Yes. Sadly, the couple didn't talk and never learned how to talk, and that's what Joel and I are trying to do: teach couples that it's good to talk about money and how to talk about money.
Yeah,
I
I
love
don't
it.
know about you, Kim, or you, Molly, but like when I was growing up, I didn't hear my parents talk about money. And, I try to talk to my kids about money at every chance I get when we're making decisions. I have like one story in the book about when my daughter and my oldest daughter and I were in Newport, Rhode Island, and she saw a sweatshirt she really wanted to buy. And so she's 16 and it was $55. And I thought, that's a little bit much. So there's many ways to go about, that kind of conversation, right? It's okay, you pay for it, or no, we can't have it. That's too expensive, those kind of comments. Or you could have a conversation and say, look, if you really want it, I'll pay X dollars and you pay Y dollars, right? I'll pay half, you pay half. You know, as opposed to we're not buying that. That's too expensive. We can't afford. And that's what I got growing up. And so you learn from that from your parents as opposed to having the conversation about, is this $55 could be 3 weeks of groceries for the family, or 2 weeks ago, whatever it is, right? So do you want to spend it on a sweatshirt, that you don't need?
Yeah. Let me ask you both, now that I have you here together, what is your vision for this book? A lot of why we've been doing this Rise and Shine, creating 2020 Vision series is all about bringing it back to, how am I going to get to where I want to go? What am I doing today to get there? And we started off this whole series with vision, moved into mindset, emotions, and now we're on action. So I just want to ask you both together, what is your vision for this book and how it can help people?
If you don't mind, Joel, I'm going to go first.
Yeah.
So the vision is to have couples connect at a deeper level and to know that money isn't taboo. And in fact, money is part of your growth together, individually and together, and not to be afraid of being in a relationship with somebody because of money, because they have less money or you have more money or we have money differences. But really, when you think about it, depending on which statistic you look at, divorce rate is 40 to 50%. And a lot of that is about money. And so my vision is to have couples have a better relationship and less divorce rate. More staying.
Yeah, and that's mine too. I mean, the reason why I had the epiphany is I want to help companies stop getting divorced, right? And we want to reach as many couples as we can and help them, especially during these volatile times. And we want to help bring calm to relationships as opposed to more stress and so for me that's key. We want to help couples understand their relationship better and understand the relationship with money better.
I love it. Well, one of the things I like to do on this show, and I'm just being mindful of the time, we have a few minutes still left, but one of the things I like to do is I like to pull cards. So I'm going to shuffle and pull a card. And while I'm doing that, will you both tell everyone where they can go to connect with you beyond this? I know I gave your websites earlier. I don't know if you have somewhere else you'd like to direct them to for the book or anything else.
Go ahead, Molly.
Oh, so you can connect with me on Facebook, Mollie Singh. You can also, my website is Mollie Singh, MOLLIESINGH.com. Can email me through there. And yeah, I'd love to connect with anybody. Reach out, let me know. Yeah.
And Kim, I think you gave my web address, SALAURMOR.com. People can connect with me there, but if anybody wants to email me, feel free. It's joel@salamo.com as well. And I gave everybody 30 minutes free prosperity coaching. So just reach out to me on my website.
Same here. Anyone listening, just mention the video, 30 minutes free.
Awesome. That's very generous of both of you. Well, and I know the book is coming out in spring 2021. Is there an exact date or anything more? Go ahead.
We're targeting mid-June.
Okay, got it.
Yep. But we do both have books out on Amazon. If anyone is interested, we have our individual books out.
Fantastic. Well, okay, so let's just add on to this message. Let's see what self-love card wants to come through, and let's see here. Oh, never mind. Something popped up already. We have 3 cards. Okay, the first card is my past is part of the richness and fullness of life. And the second card is I open myself to all good. And the third card is I choose a bright future now.
Awesome.
Love them.
One of the things I do, okay, so Mollie, I don't know if you know this, it was in the email, but one of the things I like to do at the end of this series is I pose a question to my guests, and it's a fun question. The audience here, they know what's coming, and so I would like to ask both of you, would you be open to making up a random song with the word actions or action, or it could be love, money, infinite in it? I'll repeat the question. Would you be?
So it just has to show up once.
Mollie, you can say no. I'm
a yes and kind of lady.
So
I have a poem. I have a poem.
Do
it
you?
has the word love in it.
Would you like to share that with us?
I would love to.
That would be awesome.
Okay. We were 2 people who came together. Little did we know we could love so fiercely, entwine so passionately, fight so mightily, love so dearly. May we grow, be it snowy or sunny. I am you and you are me. We are so because we are we. May we always know we are one.
Oh, did you write that?
I did.
I love that. That's fantastic. Thank you, Mollie.
Yes. My pleasure.
Very powerful.
That is perfect. Well, we are nearing the end of our show today. Is there anything else either of you would like to share about the importance of taking action for, that love and money to come together, for couples to, like you were talking about, bridging that gap and maybe healing those aspects of the relationship that were out of sync through the concepts of love and money that you're both sharing? Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I would. So we talk about the parable with the couple who's in deep conflict and in their divorce proceedings. And I think that if they had taken action to sit down and talk to one another about why they're doing or spending or, any of the questions that we pose in our upcoming book, I think that it would have been a very different outcome for them. So action, I think action is about lovingly sitting down to have that conversation.
Okay, so I want to take it out of the action for a moment. Are there any thoughts that come up for you when you think about the value of intuitively listening? Intuitively listening, not verbally communicating, but intuitively listening to each other. Does anything come up?
Of course. I think one of the things, and I kind of talk about this in the Infinitely Loving workbook, is one of the things that we really like to do is say, well, I've known him or I've known her for so many years, or even my husband and I, and we have a wonderful relationship. We'll say, well, we've been together for 10 years. Don't you know this by now? And it is that stopping. We're not stopping to be present in the moment. And I think that if at any time we stop to be present in the moment, we reach for love before we reach for anger or frustration. And that is the best part, is being present. And that would be the intuitiveness.
That's beautiful. Thank you for adding that, Mollie. Wow.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, Joel and Mollie, thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate you being here and sharing your thoughts on action, and also this beautiful combination of love and money, and how, so many more metaphors could be made out of this. To me, this is like the combination of the masculine and the feminine, right? It's gaining more flow. It's more connection. It's all of that. So wonderful.
It's also about balance.
And balance. Yeah. And harmony, that word. Yeah, harmony. I love it. Okay, well, thank you so much to both of you for being here. Stay right there. Don't go anywhere just yet. Thank you to our live and replay audience today. we have Carol here. I think she wrote this after you said your poem. She says, beautiful, Mollie.
Oh, thank you.
And Helene is also saying, I love that, Mollie Singh. Thank you for sharing with us. And Joanne, so good to see you here too. She's saying, thank you, Joel, Mollie, and Kim. Absolutely. So thank you to each of you for being here today. Let us know if anything else came up for you in today's conversation. Wherever you listened or heard this, we were live on Facebook, YouTube, and we'll also be on Apple Podcasts and other platforms tomorrow. So with that said, remember, this is still your time, your year. What are you focusing on? What are you taking action on so that you can create the vision you want to experience this year and beyond? We'll be back again on Monday with another fantastic guest, another show, and I will see you all then. Stay right there, Joel and Mollie. Bye, everybody.